Yeah.
Warning, this podcast contains yes and spoilers.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ASOTV podcast for The Flash Season 1, Episode 8, Flash vs. Arrow. I am your host, Cleo, and with me I have Dom.
How's it going?
How'd you like this crossover episode?
This is pretty much the definition of a crossover done properly.
Yeah, it was pretty rad.
It didn't take away from The Flash. It didn't start going like, hey, I have no clue what's going on. It kept it grounded in the Flash's universe. It brought in, Oliver Queen and, Arrow and Felicity and, the other dude that I don't know his name.
Diggle!
Yeah, him. And it didn't really seem too out of place either. We've known that Oliver and Flash have had time together, so it's really not a surprise that he'd come visit.
Yeah. I spent the entire first season of Arrow, every time Diggle was on screen, just going, Diggle! Because he is my favorite character. And the way he reacted to Barry's super speed was just like...
Does he do everything that fast?
Yeah, and I was just like, Diggle, you are the realest person on this show.
Pretty much.
He is the realest person.
Now, I have to say, if this is a representation of what Oliver and Arrow are like on the Arrow now, that it's much different than it is in season 1. And because I'm only about 5 or 6 episodes into season 1, and I started them a while ago, so I'm probably at this point gonna have to rewatch them. But so I didn't get very far, and I didn't like it from what I saw. But this Oliver and this incarnation of the Arrow, it seems to be very much different than that.
I'm gonna... Okay, trying to figure out how to say this. What you saw in this episode is all the best parts of Ollie. You have not seen all the worst parts of Ollie.
Right.
That you see in every episode of The Flash. I mean, in every episode of Arrow.
Right.
I like Ollie as a character. He frustrates me in a lot of ways. But these are all of the best parts of Ollie, when he is level-headed, when he is focused, and does the action stuff.
Right.
But like, him giving Barry girl advice made me laugh, because I'm like, Ollie is the last person to give anyone girl advice.
Okay, so while that's fresh in my mind, you bring that up. That was the one thing that stood out as awkward for me, is that girl that he bumped into at the end there. I'm assuming that's a girl that he liked and could not be with because of the advice he just gave to Barry. That's how that seemed from an outsider's perspective.
You're wrong.
Okay, so they didn't do a very good job of explaining that one.
They did not, but I watch Arrow.
Right.
I have seen almost every episode. I probably missed some episodes in seasons 1 and 2, but I was sitting there, I was like, I know her face. I know her face. I turned to my dad, I'm like, are we supposed to know who she is? I can't remember who she is. And it took us like 5 minutes, but we were like, oh, she's that bitch. Oh, okay.
So who is she?
Okay,
spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen Arrow. No, they don't get a spoiler. This is the Flash versus Arrow.
Finger.
No, this is the Flash versus Arrow. There's no spoiler finger.
They get a spoiler finger.
There's no spoiler finger.
It's up.
Take it down.
It's up.
Take it down.
She is, she tried to come to Oliver and tell him that she had his baby.
Okay.
But his mother, paid her off, basically.
Oh. Okay, so that's really just randomly awkward to bring into the Flash.
Well, I mean...
It's gotta carry over into...
It makes it seem like this kid is going to be important to Central City. I don't know. It's gonna depend on what his name is.
This is true. It's gonna be Aquaman.
I doubt it. I'm gonna put my finger down now.
Okay, you do that.
So yeah, it is definitely something that happened in Arrow, and if you didn't watch Arrow, you would have no idea who she is or why she's important.
Right, like I said,
she's not the one that he was giving advice about.
Okay, so like I said, that just seemed very awkward and out of place to me, and the fact that they didn't really explain that too well is my big gripe with it.
Yeah, I think it was I think somehow she's going to be the only reason I can see them introducing her in this Flash episode is if she becomes important, because she lives in Central City.
Right.
So if she becomes important to Central City or to the Flash's show for some reason, then I can understand why they would show that. But any other reason, I don't understand either.
Yeah.
So I like the way this episode started off. Apparently, we're like I said, I guess a couple episodes ago, I thought we were gonna start getting Iris as the narrator on a weekly basis, but it seems like Barry's back to the narrating. But he said everybody has a feels day. Like, everybody has feels. It's like, yeah, we do, Barry. Thank you for turning into Tumblr for a second.
Right.
Barry's just got that, like, colloquialism about him a lot of the time. He's like, I don't know. He just speaks like that sometimes.
I like it.
Yeah. Anyway, Rainbow Raider was super cool. Prism. Whatever. Rainbow Raider. Whatever the fuck his name actually.
That was Caitlin's idea at the end. Caitlin was like, I like the name Rainbow Raider.
You don't get to name them.
But that's what his name was in the comics. It was Rainbow Raider in the comics, and Cisco went with Prism.
Yeah. Which Prism may or may not be another one of his, like, names in the comics.
Right, but also I remember the first name was altered from what it was in the comics. It was the same last name. It was like Roy and Ray or something like that.
Roy Bivolo?
Yeah, and it's Ray in the comics, I believe.
No, it says Roy in the comics. Maybe
it's the other way around then.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I'm not actually sure. This is not a villain I'm familiar with. But he was really cool in his powers, and like the aftermath he sort of left, but we didn't get much of him on screen. Do you feel gypped, kind of, that he wasn't on screen as much?
No, because he's in the prison now. And
it's true.
We've seen what happens to people in the prison is they all come back to die later.
Wells lets them out.
Yeah, it's just
so that they can get killed at the opportune moment.
Oh, I just got this now.
What?
Ha ha ha. So in the comics, right, the guy's name is Roy.
Mm-hmm.
Roy Bivolo.
Mm-hmm.
His middle name is G. Roy G. Biv.
What?
You've never Rainbow? Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, violet, Roy G. Biv.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Ha ha ha.
Fuck that.
Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, but I like how they interpreted his power to be a more realistic thing.
Yeah.
It's still a little unrealistic because, you know, it's like he looks at you and a certain light makes you go crazy. But more believable than I ride on a rainbow.
This is very true. This is very true.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You didn't feel gypped. I felt a little gypped. I was at the end of the episode. I mean, it was Flash versus Arrow, so he was sort of took a back seat, which I can understand. But I was just sort of like, we didn't see much of him. I couldn't even describe his face to you if you asked me.
Oh, I couldn't either. I mean, it looks like this.
Could you leave him in the center for the rest of the podcast?
Like that?
No. Little, like
little.
So
little, but he's riding a rainbow.
Okay, fine. Yeah, that is super funny though.
He's the Rainbow Raider.
So, Ollie shows up as the Arrow to help out Barry, And then both Joe and Wells sort of like team up on Barry, and they're like, the Arrow's a bad influence. We need you to get him, out of Central City. What do you think of them, like, teaming up to, like, sort of parent Barry? Like, I don't like this kid you're hanging out with.
It's interesting because they just had this conflicting dynamic where they, like, were not getting along.
Yeah.
And, now they're, like, agreeing on things, and they're driving trucks together, and it's just really weird.
Well,
they're bonding.
Joe sort of, they did bond. Joe sort of cornered Wells when he was, like, asking him questions about his past and about, Barry's mother.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wells comes back later, and he's sort of like, yeah, here's my past, my wife, whatever, died, blah, blah, blah. And then I think that sort of, like, leveled it, and they were, like, cool with each other, but I don't think, Joe definitely hasn't made the connection that he shared this information with Wells, and then the Reverse Flash came and threatened Iris. It's like, how could you not make that connection?
The Reverse Flash did?
Nobody else knows. Yeah. The Yellow Streak came into his house, stole all the files, and then put a knife with, Iris's picture on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was in the same episode.
Okay.
Like, he literally just got home from talking with Wells, and then the Reverse Flash stole his shit. Oops. The Reverse Flash stole his shit. I'm like, how do you not make that connection? You're a fucking detective, bro.
I don't know. I missed it, too. Apparently.
Did you?
Apparently.
We talked about this. The episode had happened. Did you forget?
Are we still talking about when Barry was a kid, or are we talking about present day?
No, this was present.
Yeah, I don't even remember talking about it then.
What?
I don't know.
Because Joe and Wells were at the bar oh no, wait. Something about whiskey. Like, somebody gave somebody else a bottle of whiskey. And then they were cool, and because they had talked about Wells' past, and
Joe did.
Joe and Wells talked about Wells' past. And then Joe went home with the research of Barry's mother's murder. And the Reverse Flash came in, flashed around, stole the research, and left a knife with Iris's picture on the wall.
Oh, see, I don't remember that.
We definitely talked about it.
We may have, and I might have just tuned it out, but I'm really bad at that sometimes. But I don't remember that scene at all. I may have tuned out that part of the episode, too. That was how many episodes ago? I'm going to have to go back and watch that now.
It was not Power Outage.
No, it was like 2 back.
I think that was is that The Flash is Born? Hold on.
I think it was about 2 back. Yeah.
Joe is visited by the metahuman that killed Barry's mother, who steals the case file and threatens Joe to drop his investigation. That is episode 6, 2 episodes ago.
Yeah. I must have missed that one
That
scene.
happened, and I'm sure we talked about it.
Yeah, we probably did. But I definitely don't remember that scene.
That's okay. Anyway.
Oops.
That. I think it's I don't know. I just think it's funny that they sat him down like parents and was like, you can't be hanging out with this Arrow kid. I don't trust him.
See, at least we got that blunder out of the way now, because I was going to go and say that they really set up, what's his name?
Oh, yeah, Eddie thing.
Yeah, they really set Eddie up to be a villain now.
Well, okay, my dad brought this up, where Eddie could be, like, the grandfather of the Reverse Flash, because the Reverse Flash is from the future.
Right.
So it could be something like that, where maybe Eddie's not, the bad guy, but a descendant of his is. So, I don't know, we're gonna get the answer next week.
We are.
Or at least part of the answer. I don't think we're gonna get the full answer. But enough to make me stop banging my head against the wall when I think about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I've talked, like, and thought myself in circles, like it could be this or this or this. What about the
So
the
are you
room
off
of,
the fact that it's Wells now?
listen, I don't know. Because every time I think about it, I'm like, it's gotta be Wells, it's gotta be Wells. Then I'm like, there's a couple reasons why it can't be Wells, but then maybe it's him. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't.
what did Ollie say when he walked out the door?
That he's weird.
There's something weird about that
Something
guy.
wrong with him. Yeah, and I was like, thank you, Ollie. Literally nobody has said that yet.
Right.
I have a feeling Cisco feels it too, but hasn't said anything. Because
Possible.
he's his boss, you know?
Yeah.
But definitely when Wells yelled or got very mad at Cisco for the freeze gun, I think Cisco sort of felt something because he was just like,
he even mentioned the freeze gun again this episode.
He did. I fucking love that. Like, that could have come in handy now, couldn't it? It's like, come on, Cisco. Nobody likes to show off. Speaking of Cisco, he plays with the boomerang.
Right.
And almost kills everyone.
Yeah.
He comes out there and is like, my bad.
My bad.
That was me.
See, and that's the one kind of plot that was left open, but not in a bad way either. It's like, yeah, they investigated it, they did some tests and whatever. They may have not found anything on it, you know? So they found a little bit, but I mean, they may have not found anything super significant on it, and that's just the end of it. It goes about their business.
Well,
however,
I'm not sure that
we do know in the Arrow episode it's going to be concluded.
Yeah.
So
I think Boomerang's going to be part of the Suicide Squad as opposed to part of the Rogues.
Right.
So Arrow has the Suicide Squad and Flash has the Rogues. And I'm pretty sure Boomerang's going to fall into the Suicide Squad.
Right.
But I'm very excited because this whole time I'm like, they've got to introduce Boomerang because, you know, he's one of the bad guys in the Rogues, and they've introduced all these other Rogues. And I'm like, yeah, he's gonna come in the Flash. And then last Arrow episode, he was there for like the last 5 seconds of the episode, and I was like, oh, my mind has been blown. You're switching it up on me.
Yep.
They're doing such a good job with switching.
They are. They are.
I can't believe it. I'm so happy with these two shows right now. Really happy.
I don't know. I'm gonna watch the Arrow this week. I typically don't watch Arrow, so just to kind of conclude what happened in this Flash thing, because they may allude to some of it, you know, somewhere in the next episode of Flash. Depends on what exactly happens.
Yeah. Well, I think I know what's gonna really bring Barry back, because they had their whole fight, and Diggle and Cisco were taking bets, you know, in this episode, and it ended up being a tie, which
Felicity was like, please tell me you guys aren't arguing about this.
Please tell me you're not doing this right now. I love Felicity. She's awesome. But yeah, and I saw that coming into this episode. I was like,
they had to.
It's going to be a tie because every time they have a contest in the DCU, it ends up being a tie.
Yeah. Well, it's not only that, but they're promoting this as a cross-promo show. It's not like the Arrow just came on to visit Flash and they didn't promote it on Arrow and, you know, all that. And so they can't have either of them lose, because then they're going to make one seem better than the other, and then you're not going to be able to go back and watch the episodes without being like, well, this guy isn't as good as the other one. So they kind of had to do that.
So what did you think about the fight between Barry and
pretty much everything you could have ever wanted out of the two of them, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, we talked about this last episode. You were like, the Flash has superpowers. That's the way Arrow can hold his own, but so in reality, right? If this, because it never will be, but if there was a man that was like Barry, that was able to do what Barry does, there is no way a human being is going to be able to combat that. If Barry wanted to kill Oliver, he could have done it very easily. He just has to grab him and run full speed into a brick wall, and that's it. You're done. I mean, yes.
The speed and impact of which you hit would explode a human being.
Yeah, that's true. There are definitely ways he could use his superpower to kill Oliver, but like Oliver is trying to tell him, he's being too like cocky.
Yes, he is. He's not.
Which is why Ollie was able to hold his own. But
He's
Ollie
not
went
scouting the scene. Like Ollie was like, you could do that in less than a second. Like
I love that he caught the 2 arrows. He's like, "You're not gonna fool me twice," and then he shoots him in the leg.
Yeah, right in the Achilles tendon.
That was perfect. I was like, "Mwah, Ollie, good job."
I did have to give him credit on that one.
Yeah, I think the most telling thing like about who Ollie is when Ollie was just taking all those punches. It's like that must have hurt.
Yeah.
A fucking lot.
Mm.
Ollie can take a hit like nobody's business.
I love the first time that Barry gets shot in the back with the arrow, and he's like, "You shot me!" And he's like, "Felicity said you heal fast."
He rips it out. What do you think about how Ollie was trying to train him? Do you think that was too harsh?
No, I think it was perfect. I think it's exactly what Barry needed, and if Barry is to listen to Ollie's advice and they go up against each other again, I don't see Barry winning. I mean, Ollie winning this time.
I don't know. He's coming on the arrow.
It's gonna be a whole different ball game from there. It's gonna be, because Ollie had to learn how to adapt on this side too, and you even see by the end of the episode something he said that he would never do. He did. He called them metahumans.
Oh yeah.
So
that's true. He's like, they're bad guys. Don't. I'm not calling them metahumans.
Yeah, and he did.
He did at the end. You're right. Well, I mean, because they are friends, and
right. But I mean,
especially after
he
that,
learns that it's a whole different world here. He's got to adapt to it.
And there's nothing like kicking the crap out of your friends that helps bonding.
It's true.
Yeah. So Wells actually guessed that Oliver Queen was the arrow.
Did he guess? He had to have some kind of intel.
He either guessed or he went to his supercomputer and she told him.
Yeah, pretty much.
But either way, Wells, who we can with almost utter certainty say is a bad guy, now knows Oliver Queen is the arrow.
Mm-hmm.
What's that going to mean for Ollie and for Team Arrow?
It means Ollie's going to have to take him out.
I mean, this isn't really a spoiler. In the Arrow show right now, Ollie doesn't kill anybody anymore.
Yeah, they said that. They said that in this episode.
Thank you for spoiler breaker. Huh? They did. Yeah, he doesn't kill anybody anymore. And he used to. Like, he dropped bodies, like, all the time. But no, now he's strict. He does not kill anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so strict to a point where he wouldn't do it to avenge a friend.
Yeah, he just shoves arrows in people's limbs.
Yeah, just right in the
shoulder,
non-vital,
the leg, yeah.
The non-vital joints, you know. They'll be fine. They'll heal. Don't worry about it. But yeah. So just saying he's going to take him out, I don't know. We might get to a point where Wells is a cross show villain.
He could.
I would really like that. It depends on who he is.
Yeah, that's very true. We have no reference at this point.
No, not really.
I mean, it could just be an original character as well. It might not necessarily be somebody from the comics.
That's true. That is true.
I mean, look at what they did with Gotham. We have Fish Mooney. He's a brand new character. It's very much tied to some of the other major characters that you know from the comics, but is not actually from the comics herself. And Wells could be the exact same boat.
You're right. I'm not sure they're going to go that route, though, because seeing Arrow for 3 seasons, they've never really done something like that with Arrow. But they could, you're right, they could change it up. Flash is a new show. It could be going its own way.
See, I don't really follow the Arrow comics either, but it seems like Flash is changing a lot of the comic. Like, characters' names have been changing. Like, if this guy is Ray Biv.
Oh, yeah.
Ray Bigelow, and in the comics he's Roy Bigelow. Like, it's a very slight thing that they're changing, but they might be doing that to save so these characters can come back as, like, their brothers or relatives or something.
Yeah, definitely. But what I mean is there's still, like, Fish is a completely new character.
Right.
There's no trace of her in the comics. These characters we've seen, even if they're changed a lot, like, I mean, Roy is pretty, Rainbow Raiders changed a lot. His powers are very different. But he's still based on
he still
that
has the ability to change mood. Like, that was one of his powers in the comics, and it did affect by the color. It was like a mood ring. So, you know, that...
And we've only seen him use red.
Right, exactly.
So I'd like to see them bring him back and he use a bunch of different colors. Ooh, I'd love to see green, because that would be like Envy.
Yeah.
That would also get people to kick the crap out of each other.
Or they could even weaponize him and use blue to, like, calm down some of these other metahumans.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like that. But yeah, speaking of that, they cut from Ollie beating Flash, well, them curing Ollie, fixing his sight. They just cut from that to them tossing Bibelo in a cell. Like, unceremoniously just tossing him in the cell. It's like, yep, that's the end of the episode. Yeah.
I mean, they had to cram a lot in this episode.
Yeah, you're right, they did.
But they didn't have to pigeonhole that girl with Ollie, but I'm sure it'll come up in this next episode for, you know, the Arrow thing.
I'm not sure that it's going to come up with Arrow. This feels like a Central City thing. Whoever this lady is, I think is gonna be part of Flash, not part of Arrow. Because, I mean, his mother paid her a lot of money to leave Starling and go to Central City. So I don't see her being part of Arrow.
How long ago did this take place?
I'm pretty sure it was season 2. It was the end of last season.
Okay, so that's also when they kind of set up and knew Flash was coming. So they could have intentionally done that to set it up for Flash.
Yeah, because the mother said specifically, you're gonna go and you're gonna move to Central City and you're gonna be away from my son. Yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be another wait and see sort of thing. Yeah. I think we're all ready to learn who the man in the yellow suit is.
Yeah, and I like your theory too. I think it's definitely somebody related to Eddie, and just because. So the thing I was the most worried about in this crossover episode was not only the tie-in between, you know, is it Eddie, you know, or the tie-in with the Oliver and coming in and like taking away from the story, whatever, is he helped advance the story, right? So it wasn't anything like, I mean, they did go off track a little bit with the, you know, Oliver himself and like that girl, like we were just talking about, but in the same thing, they had a villain, they had a metahuman that they caught. Yeah. You know, they've strengthened Joe and Wells's relationship. They set up Iris hating the Flash now. You know, like, well,
not hating, but definitely like, don't talk to me anymore.
That's basically.
I don't think she's gonna stop her blog, but I think she's gonna keep her distance from him.
She may stop the blog. I mean, Flash just beat the shit out of her boyfriend.
I know.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to see.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we've reached the point where it's just like, Barry, fucking tell her, because you're going to like save so much grief later.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but they definitely kept advancing the plot. It's not like this was just a filler side episode of just a promotional thing to cross these two over. No, they did it.
They're doing it right.
But yeah, like I said, this is the definition of a crossover done right. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, excuse me. So, next episode of The Flash. The man in the yellow suit.
Let me cut you off real quick.
Go for it.
Because this is kind of a two-part thing, we should probably do the synopsis for The Brave and the Bold first.
Sure.
So.
All right. Oliver, Roy, and Diggle track down... Oh, yeah, so the next episode of Arrow is called The Brave and the Bold, which actually it aired tonight, so I'm gonna go see it when we're done. I'll go watch it.
Yeah.
Oliver, Roy, and Diggle track down the location of the boomerang-wielding killer named Digger Harkness, but are surprised when they come face to face with an Argus team. Diggle asks Lila, his baby mama, why Argus is involved, but she defers until Harkness attacks the building, killing several agents and targeting Lila. The Arrow joins the fight and gets help from an old friend, the Flash. Harkness manages to get away, and Oliver teams up with Barry again to find him before he can get to Lila. When Harkness plants 5 bombs in the city that are timed to explode at the same time, both teams must come together to save the city.
So it definitely looks like Barry's super speed is going to come in very handy with those bombs.
Yes.
You know.
And Argus is a pretty sure it's a government program, but it's they manage the Suicide Squad, and they have like agents who do secret stuff.
Yeah.
And it's led by Amanda Waller.
Right. So like I said, I feel this next episode of Arrow is going to be more weight on the Arrow side than the Flash side, which rightfully so. It's their show. Mm-hmm. But I feel it's probably going to be done in a way that my guess is it's going to be done in a way that this Flash episode was. That even if you don't watch Flash necessarily, I think as an Arrow fan, you probably understood a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you're like coming into this world where these superpowered villains are existing. You don't know why, so that was never really explained to you. But it's the Flash's show, so explaining it would be redundant. I guarantee there's going to be a few moments like that in Arrow. They're probably not going to start explaining very detailed who some of these villains or these groups are. But you should be able to understand for the most part what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. And I think there's been a lot of setup for like more stuff to happen with Argus. And I've said on the Arrow podcast a couple times that I think Argus is going to get disbanded pretty soon, and because there's a lot of stuff going on with it, and Amanda Waller too. So
yeah.
Stuff's happening.
So what is happening next week on The Flash?
The man in the yellow suit. Barry finds himself face to face with his nemesis, the man in the yellow suit, aka Reverse Flash, who killed his mother. Barry is frustrated when the Reverse Flash escapes. But Dr. Wells and Cisco come up with a plan to trap him. All they need is bait, so they turn to Dr. Tina McGee from Mercury Labs to help.
All right,
meanwhile,
hold on, let me cut you off there. Who's Tina McGee?
No idea.
You don't know Mercury Labs? It's not like an Arrow thing?
It sounds familiar, but off the top of my head, I have no idea. Listen, there's a lot of stuff that happens in the DCU. I can't keep track of that shit.
Okay.
And I can't find the search bar, so I can't even look for it for you. I'll just finish with the thing. Tina McGee from Mercury Labs to help. Meanwhile, it's Christmas at the West household. And Iris is in full holiday cheer. Eddie gives her a surprising gift, but also leaves her with a question that could change her life. Oh! Hold on!
Oh, whoa,
Hold on.
whoa. He's proposing?
Hold on.
He's proposing?
Or it's a puppy. Joe joins the search for the man in the yellow and ends up in the crossfire. And listen, this is probably the most interesting thing about this whole synopsis, and it's 3 words long. Catelyn finds Ronnie. I forgot that was the end of this episode. We see Ronnie. We see Firestorm.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was going to ask about that.
I almost forgot.
So,
Dumb me.
I assumed it was Ronnie, but I wasn't 100% sure.
It is definitely Ronnie.
Because
Iris, 2 episodes ago, mentioned that people had come to her, or last episode, people had come to her telling her that they've seen a man whose head was on fire walking around the city at night.
Right, yes, I definitely remember hearing
Ronnie.
about that. Excellent.
That is Firestorm.
So I just looked up, this character is definitely from the Flash comics and everything, so it has nothing to do with Arrow, but the interesting thing about it is Amanda Pays, who was in the original 1990s Flash TV series, is reprising the role. She is also playing Dr. Tina McGee. So that's really cool little nod.
Well, I mean, I don't know if we talked about this on the show, but the man who plays Barry's father played Barry in the original Flash TV show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that he used to play the Flash.
Interesting. And in the original Flash TV show, it says that Dr. McGee was an expert geneticist who was Barry's main ally and love interest. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I doubt they're going to go with the love interest angle, but it would be cool if her and Barry's father had the love interest to kind of, carry over if Barry's father.
Weird.
Yeah. So.
Although until something happens that gets Barry's father out of jail, I'm not sure that that's going to come to light yet. If that's true.
Maybe.
But headcanon.
Headcanon. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm super excited for Ronnie. Because whatever happens with Ronnie is probably going to be a catalyst for Catelyn, I don't know, changing somehow, maybe being Killer Frost or setting her on the path to become Killer Frost.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, I am waiting with bated breath for my Cisco episode.
So now, is the man in the yellow suit, is that the mid-season finale?
No. No, where is my list? There is an episode after that called Revenge of the Rogues.
Oh.
Which I'm sure is going to have the return of Captain Cold.
I'm sure all the meta heroes.
All of them.
Meta villains.
Yeah, I have a suspicion that in The Man in the Yellow Suit, Wells, at least by the end, Wells is going to be outed in some way that he's got knowledge of the future, that that the reactor was his fault. Something's gonna come to light, and that's gonna cause him to let the rogues out.
I was gonna say potentially Ollie could uncover this, but I highly doubt that they're gonna uncover that bombshell on the Arrows episode.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be Ronnie. I think Ronnie's gonna reveal something.
Ooh, good
that
call.
That points at Wells.
Good call.
Because Ronnie went down there to where everything was going wrong, and he's gonna know sabotage when he sees it.
Yep.
Also, and it's gonna hurt my heart, but I think Ronnie's gonna bring to light that Cisco was there and closed the door on him. Even though Ronnie told him, but Cisco never really said that in detail to Catelyn.
That's true.
So.
I don't know if she'd be upset though.
I don't know. I honestly can't tell because I think Ronnie's just gonna rock her foundation.
Yeah, especially with Ronnie walking around. I mean, I don't see her. I don't know. Maybe she'll be upset at him for turning him into what he is, but I feel like they'll be able to help him to some degree, but they'll probably have to keep him in a prison for a while.
Yeah, because it seems like he can control his power. I was wrong, actually. Because for some reason I thought the Firestorm was unable to control his power. I don't know why I was under that impression. I might have been confusing him with someone else. But it seems to be somewhat in control of his powers.
It seemed almost as if he was cold, like he had no body heat, and then he warmed himself up when they asked him if he was shivering because he was cold or if he was on drugs or something, all of a sudden then his body heat just kicked in and he's walking around on fire. So
that seemed to me like he was trying to keep his power under control, and when they came up with the knife, he was just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Because the thing about Firestorm is he's got two personalities living in his head. And I forget how it works because it's usually two different people. But this is one person. This is Ronnie. At least as far as we know, it's just Ronnie. But I feel like some split personality is going to come into play.
Maybe some resentment for everything, too. So.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Our next episode is going to be great! Dom!
It is.
Where can the people find you?
You can find me at Phenomedom, PHENOMEDOM, down there.
You can find me at Cliomoto, right there, and you can find all of us and more on ASOTV podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, Google+, MySpace, and right here on YouTube.
Do you need a cough drop?
You know, I think I'll be okay. I got some water.
I have a cough drop right here for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Not that you can really take it from me.
So we'll see you next week or tomorrow for the Arrow podcast.
If not next week for the Flash.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
See you later. I don't know why, but I just realized every time that I'm not hosting, I salute as my exit.
Nice.
I salute everyone.